Welcome back to Carneades.org. Today we're going to be continuing with our series, Dumbfounding Definitions, Dizzying Distinctions, and Diabolical Doctrines, a series sorting through some of the jargon of philosophy. Yes, that yellow background does mean we're going to be talking about a subject in the philosophy of religion today. We are going to be talking about what is a theodicy. Now, a theodicy builds out of something known as the problem of evil. So one of the central problems in the philosophy of religion is the problem of evil. I have a video on it if you're curious. Simply, why is there evil in the world if God is all-powerful, all-knowing, and all-good? There are two different kinds of the problem of evil. There's two different versions of it. The logical problem of evil claims that the properties of God, power, knowledge, and goodness, are logically inconsistent with the evil in the world. Or in other words, God is impossible. The evidential problem of evil is more of an abductive argument. It claims that the best explanation for the evil we see in the world is that there is no God. Or in other words, that God is improbable. Now, frankly, from my perspective as a skeptic, I'm skeptical of abductive arguments to begin with, so the evidential problem of evil doesn't hold that much weight with me. But it also means that a lot of other similar abductive arguments aren't going to hold that much weight. But for someone that's a fan of abductive arguments, you might want another way to face off with the evidential problem of evil. And that's where a theodicy comes in. So there are two responses to the problem of evil. The first is known as a defense, which is a response to the logical problem of evil, such as the free will defense. A defense attempts to demonstrate that God is logically possible. The second is known as a theodicy. A theodicy is a story told which attempts to respond to the evidential problem of evil. It attempts to demonstrate that God is not merely logically possible, but plausible as well, or the best explanation for what we see in the world. In this video, we'll look at two different kinds of theodicies, the Augustinian and the Irenaean versions as categorized by John Hick. So let's take a look at the Augustinian Theodicy first. So the Augustinian Theodicy, named for St. Augustine of Hippo, claims that evil is merely a perversion of good. God created a perfect world, but original sin, the disobedience of Adam and Eve, introduced evil into the world. All evil and suffering that have entered the world have come from that original sin. No one is blameless, no one is innocent, as we all come from the same line. So any evil that the world does, even to newborn babies, is deserved, or at least explained, since even the newborn baby really isn't innocent, or really isn't blameless. We're at fault for bringing evil into the perfect world that God gave us. Now that's a very particular version of this larger category of theodicy. Basically, this theodicy says that it's humans' fault. It's the fault of humans that evil is in the world, for one reason or another. There's a wide number of different versions of this type of theodicy, but the central tenet is that evil is blamed on humans. God gave us a perfect world, and for whatever reason, we messed it up. It is our fault that evil entered the world, so God is blameless. Now, the Irenaean Theodicy is slightly different. So John Hick objected to this Augustinian view in light of revelations regarding evolution, for example, and kind of skepticism about the literalness of the Adam and Eve story. And the objection that original sin was not so bad as to justify all of the suffering of humanity forever. He has a much more complicated way of saying that, but that's the simple version. So Hick, following Irenaeus, argued for instead a soul-making theodicy. What does that mean? Well, according to Hick, we are created with the ability to achieve moral perfection, but we must go through suffering and the opportunity to choose evil to become truly morally perfect. Perfect goodness requires, in some way, going through suffering and evil. If we never had the choice to do evil and resisted it, we'd not be fully good. Really, the only way to be completely good or completely perfect is to be able to have the choice to do evil and choose good. You make your soul in that way. What do you think? Do you think that these theodicies make God and evil plausible together, or are you not convinced? What other theodicies have you heard of? There's a lot more out there. Are they convincing? Write your answers in the comments below, and watch this video and more here at Carneades.org, and stay skeptical, everybody.